New law just passed and no one is talking about it. This changes everything. Recently, a new law was quietly approved that has the potential to drastically alter how your finances and privacy are managed. Even though the media has mostly kept quiet on the problem, it has a significant influence. In this video, we will go through 7 key points that explain how this law will affect your daily life. Number 7, increased government surveillance. The new law goes far beyond conventional surveillance methods by giving the government the power to track people's digital footprints. It gives authorities access to online information such as browsing histories, emails, texts, and even social media engagements. Although national security, counterterrorism, and fighting organized crime are frequently cited as justifications, the wording of the law may be sufficiently ambiguous to allow for broader application. Regardless of whether the individuals are suspects or not, governments can now obtain personal information from tech companies or even compel them to provide information about their users. This can result in a situation where you are being watched for engaging in routine internet activities. Number 6, impact on financial privacy. This new law gives the government the ability to examine your bank transactions, which fundamentally alters the financial privacy landscape. Government authorities may require banks and other financial institutions to provide them with comprehensive details of individual accounts, including balances, transaction histories, and even any unexpected or sizable withdrawals. Although this presents major privacy problems, it may be justified in the name of preventing tax evasion or combating money laundering. Whether you are investing in stocks, purchasing coffee, or donating to a charity, picture your everyday purchases being closely examined. Number 5, stricter data collection requirements. Companies will be subject to more stringent requirements under the new law to gather and retain a greater quantity of personal data. Sensitive information like biometric IDs, geolocation history, and even intricate behavioral patterns are now included in these guidelines, which go far beyond simple contact details. For example, in order to create more comprehensive profiles of you for targeted advertising or other uses, businesses might be obliged to monitor your online activities, preferences, and purchasing patterns. Corporations already gather some of this data, but the law mandates more thorough gathering and dissemination. Number 4, more control over cryptocurrency. For a long time, cryptocurrency has been seen as a way to conduct business anonymously or under a pseudonym without interference from the government. However, the new law introduces important measures to monitor and track cryptocurrency transactions and imposes stringent regulations on digital currencies. For example, exchanges may be required to report every transaction over a certain value to authorities, or track the identity of users even when they make transactions via decentralized systems. This contradicts the fundamental premise of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which were meant to be decentralized and secure from government or institutional control. The additional regulation may include requirements for individuals to divulge personal information, such as their identity and source of funds, whenever they make Bitcoin transactions. Number 3, changes to personal digital rights. The freedoms and safeguards afforded to people in the online sphere are known as digital rights. These include the degree of control you have over your personal information, the types of information you can share, and the ways in which your data is utilized. By granting the government and commercial companies greater authority over your online persona, the new law erodes fundamental digital liberties. Previously, users could use privacy settings and policies to restrict the sharing of their data or to opt out of tracking systems. However, you may have fewer options to opt out or manage what data is gathered, and businesses may now be obliged to get more specific personal information from you. The ability to remain anonymous online is also included in the definition of digital rights under this new law. For example, as governments and corporations strengthen their hold on identifying and tracking people across platforms. Number 2, reduced protection against identity theft. Identity theft risks increase exponentially with the proliferation of data collection and sharing, and this new law may erode consumer protections by expanding the network of parties with access to personal data, increasing the likelihood of data breaches. For instance, if a retailer, tech company, or health insurance provider has access to more of your private information, such as government-issued IDs, addresses, or financial information, they may be at risk of data breaches because they may lack the security infrastructure of banks or specialized data protection firms, making them more susceptible to hackers. Furthermore, it can be very difficult to keep an eye on where and how your personal information is being used once it has been shared across several sites. Number 1, lack of public discussion. The apparent lack of openness and public debate around the enactment of this new law is among its most concerning features. With minimal fanfare, the bill was probably introduced and then approved under the pretense that it was essential for national security or public health. It may have been concealed in legislative jargon. Many people might not completely understand the ramifications until they observe changes in their daily lives, such more focused surveillance or limitations on their financial independence because of the quiet surrounding its adoption. There are serious questions about whether the public has been sufficiently consulted on such a fundamental policy change, given the silence of lawmakers, the media, and even advocacy groups. Citizens may feel helpless when these measures begin to directly affect them if they are not given the chance to voice their concerns or oppose such legislation. People may have little recourse to contest the law or demand changes once they understand the seriousness of the situation. The absence of public discussion raises questions about whether the legislation was intended to evade scrutiny, which could have long-term effects that many people will not fully understand until it is too late. Each of these reasons describes how this new rule may profoundly change how we use technology, handle our money, and safeguard our personal information. Thanks for watching our video, and don't forget to subscribe.